CTV News with Matt Grillo.
Good evening. A Quebec hobby store is challenging the OQLF. They want an exemption from the province's language laws because they argue it could hurt business. Stéphane Giroux reports.
Imaginaire is a large chain of stores that specializes in all kinds of hobbies, from Pokemon cards, collectible Matchbox cars, and its biggest seller, board games. Its largest competitor is the internet.
The hardest part for a retailer these days is competing with the major American online retailers. When we don't have something, the first thing somebody's going to do is look online for it.
But Imaginaire and other hobby stores have to deal with Quebec's language laws, which states that each product needs bilingual labeling or a French-only equivalent version. If they don't, they lose sales to customers who simply buy them online.
This is an example of a game that we would love to be able to offer in French. Unfortunately, the manufacturer doesn't distribute it in French. It hasn't been translated and localized.
A good example would be, let's say, the game of Scrabble. Now, the store has the French one and the English one. But let's say they run out of the French one. Well, the store would technically be breaking the law if it only sold the English one. Imaginaire owner Benoit Doyon finds the rules so restrictive that he launched an online campaign to change Quebec's language law.
Oui, je veux qu'on protège notre langue française, mais pas.
I want to protect French, he says, but not at the cost of the hobbies. Doyon and his son have gathered 14,000 signatures on petitions, mostly in Quebec, and there's a precedent. Books, music, and video games are exempt from French content requirements.
We're not asking for the impossible, and we're not asking for to be the only one that's going to be a part. We just want to jump in that group of exception.
The OQLF says the rules have always existed since Law 101 was passed in 1977, but says that short of selling a French version, retailers must make sure that labels and instructions be made available in French. But for hobbyists, it's a requirement that's not always cost-effective. Stéphane Giroux, CTV News.
Hundreds of people gathered today for the funeral of baseball announcer Rodger Brulotte. The service was held this morning north of Montreal in Sainte-Thérèse. The tribute was attended by politicians and cultural icons. His wife, Pascale Vallée, delivered a eulogy and spoke of how Rodger still had a lot that he wanted to do.
Il avait encore 1001 idées en tête. Pour accomplir et réaliser tout ce qu'il voulait faire, il lui aurait fallu vivre jusqu'à 130 ans. Je vais vous parler de Rodger d'un point de vue plus personnel. Rodger, c'est le bonheur. Il se lève le matin en chantant et durant toute la journée. Il n'avait rien à son épreuve. Je vais vous relever un secret. Il connaissait plus qu'une chanson.
The iconic voice of the Expos died from cancer on March 20th. He was 79 years old. Former city councillor Sammy Forcillo has died. Forcillo served the city for almost 30 years. His political career began under Jean Drapeau in 1978. He spent time on the executive committee. In 2013, he retired after representing the Peter McGill district. His name came up at the Charbonneau Commission hearings because of his position as Frank Zampino's right-hand man. Forcillo died Thursday. He was 75. The Jeux de Montreal is bringing together competitors from across the city. And while the athletes are young, some of the venues are showing their age. Kelly Gregg reports.
It's an event bringing together 5,500 athletes and hundreds more parents and supporters in the stands.
Honestly, I just like playing it because I get to play with my friends and teammates.
The Jeux de Montréal is highlighting 50 years since Montreal hosted the Olympic Games. The event is happening primarily at the Centre Claude Robillard.
1, 2, 3!
which itself is a relic of 1976 and a site still under renovations. But it's not big enough.
It's a matter of capacity. We would like to have everything here, but it's so big now, the Montreal Games, that we have to be in 14 different sites.
And that's renewing questions about the state of Montreal's sports infrastructure. In recent years, the Lachine Soccerplex was torn down. A fire at the Olympic Stadium closed the pool for months, and other facilities were unavailable because of renovations, leaving teams looking for places to practice and play. And on top of that, finding staff is another challenge.
In mid-August, some pools are being closed. The reason, well, it's hard to find personnel to be able to manage those.
During the municipal election campaign, Ensemble Montreal promised free parking at Claude Robillard, which is now in place. It also pledged to rebuild Verdun's natatorium in its first mandate. Today, the city said there's no updated timeline on that project.
I would say that's the main problem for the sport to grow a little bit in Montreal. It's the accessibility to these installations. It's a challenge. We're working with the City of Montreal.
Isabella Dunn's basketball team is going home with a silver medal.
We won 20-something to 0.
And with the Jeune Montréal growing, it's showing having a place to play is an important first step. Kelly Gregg, CTV News.
The Montreal Police Arson Squad is investigating a fire in a commercial building in NDG. A 911 call was made at 1:15 in the morning, alerting police that a fire alarm had gone off in the building on Summerled near Bessborough Avenue. Police say one or more suspects broke into the second floor and allegedly set fire to commercial offices and then fled before authorities arrived. Incendiary materials were found on scene. One of the tenants, who rents an office and is a tax accountant, says the fire couldn't have come at a worse time.
Well, I left the building at 11 o'clock about last night, knowing that I have a long day today. And 7:36 this morning, I got a call from the landlord that, there's a fire in the building. I said, no, I was there till 11 o'clock. He said it would have happened after you left. So it's a lot of damages. I got clients planned to meet today. The timing is just too much.
The building sustained significant damage. No one was injured. Well, it's a sure sign summer is on the way, tire changing season. In Quebec, winter tires are mandatory until March 15th. Many people wait until early April to put on their summer tires. At Gordon's Tires, it's especially busy right now, and given how challenging the winter season has been, drivers have been delaying their appointments.
A lot of people made their appointments as usual at the end of March, after the legal date of March 15, but people were calling to cancel and rebooking their appointments. So yes, definitely because of the weather.
Weather brought to you by Gratian Scaff. Second pair is a gift event including designer frames. A second pair free for a limited time.
Let's have a look at the forecast. We are at 7 degrees in Montreal, a little bit cooler in the eastern townships. It's 3 degrees in Sherbrooke and 6 degrees in Quebec City. We will have similar temps tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds for your wake up, a high of 9 degrees by mid-afternoon. It's going to be a rainy start to next week. We're expecting showers on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but we'll have highs in the teens and then a mix of sun and clouds to finish out the week on Friday. After the break, the Habs are looking to stack some wins ahead of the postseason. Canadians versus Blue Jackets, highlights coming up. A Montreal doctor is trying to make sure every child in Quebec has access to a pediatrician. Matthew Donlan is a doctor at the Montreal Children's Hospital, and he's launched Care for Every Kid initiative, and he joins us now. Thanks for doing this.
Hi, Matt. Nice to talk to you today.
Tell us, when did this goal come about and why?
So I've been a pediatrician back at the Montreal Children's since 2020. And what I realized is that many kids were coming to the hospital, and when they left, they had nobody to follow them up. So they'd come to the hospital for something like asthma, get sent home with the treatment, and then afterwards, they wouldn't have anybody to see them as an outpatient. It was sad because then kids would come back to the hospital, and then they would have the problem all over again. So I figured that we needed to fix this. We needed to find a doctor for these kids to follow them when they went home.
And I guess that was making the ER quite busy then, right?
Absolutely. So these things that kids would come back for are things that could have easily been treated closer to their home.
So for children, this initiative, presumably, it would mean easier access to health care. How would this change things for pediatricians?
So Montreal, historically, pediatricians followed a lot of children and a lot of healthy children. What we're trying to move towards is that pediatricians follow kids who have healthcare needs. So when they have a particular problem, they can be followed by a pediatrician and they can take care of that. And then hopefully family doctors, nurse practitioners, and other primary care providers can follow healthy kids.
So if I understand correctly, this has started in certain hospitals. Do you think this can be scaled, though, to the whole province?
I absolutely believe that what I've done can be recreated across the province. When we do some simple calculations, I really feel like there are enough pediatricians and family doctors and nurse practitioners to care for all of our kids. It just takes a little bit of organization, and I'd love to show Santé Quebec how to do it.
How many children and parents do you think you've helped so far with this initiative?
Just for pediatricians, over 4,000. For family doctors, add another 4,000 there, so somewhere between 8,000 and 10,000 kids.
And explain to us how it works. What's the process? You know, how did you start all of this? How did it start out, and how did it look?
So before, when kids came to the hospital and they had to leave to find a pediatrician, they were given a consult in their hands and they were told a couple of offices that were closest to their home, and they tried to find a follow-up visit there. What I did is I called every pediatrician's office in Quebec and asked if they had capacity to see the kids. And if they did, they were part of my database. And now I have a pan-Quebec network of pediatricians that can follow kids. At the hospital, what happens, so the kids come in, they have some kind of issue that needs follow-up. The consult gets referred into my system. Initially, it was just me. I would see all of the consult myself. I would look at the child's postal code and send the consult on to the office closest to their home. And then they get a call from that clinic for the follow-up. For babies, what I realized is that many of the babies that were leaving our hospital after they were born also didn't have follow-up, didn't have a primary care provider, didn't have a doctor to see them for the usual healthcare visits. So I asked all the moms in 2021 3 questions. Do you have a doctor for your baby? Is it a pediatrician, family doctor, or a nurse practitioner? And what's your postal code? What I found is that about half of the babies were leaving our hospital without primary care. But when I called them back 2 months later, actually 85% of them had found somebody. So that 15% of people actually seemed like a pretty solvable problem. So I hooked up with local clinics, and then now whenever a baby's born at our hospital, they're referred to the clinic that is closest to their home.
Very interesting. Finally, I want to ask you, you would need Santé Quebec on board for this. Have you heard anything back from them yet?
There's been a few whispers in the past week after the article came out last week in the Gazette. We had spoken to them. I'm also on the Association de Pédiatres de Québec's Administrative Council. So we'd had some preliminary meetings with them in the past couple of months, but I'm really hoping to move this project forward more definitively.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what's next on this. Dr. Matthew Donlan, thank you for doing this today.
Thank you so much for hearing me. Appreciate it.
The Montreal Canadiens have been riding high lately, and the Habs faced off against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight. Columbus jumped out to an early 2-0 lead thanks to goals from Boone Jenner and Charlie Coyle. But the Habs would respond. Josh Anderson would score his 14th of the season to make it 2-1. The Blue Jackets, though, would not let up and would score 2 more goals in the second period. Early in the third, with the Habs on a power play, Cole Caulfield would score his 51st goal of the season, but Charlie Coyle would score his 2nd of the night, and Columbus comes away with a 5-2 win. The Habs are back in action tomorrow night against the New York Islanders. And in PWHL action, the Montreal Victoires were in Boston playing the Boston Fleet. Plenty of physicality in this one. And some close calls on the offensive end, but the Victoires' Anne-Renée Desbiens shutting down the Fleet. This one was scoreless until the third period, but the Victoires' Lena Lundblom finds the back of the net. That would be the game winner. The Victoires come away with a 1-0 win. And just ahead, Quebec's newest pro soccer team, FC Supra, kicked off its inaugural season. Highlights from the team's first match coming up.
Menswear provided by Ernest. Elevate your style with Ernest. Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
Increasing number of abandoned buildings.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVMontreal.ca, your home for news. For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
FC Supra is the new pro men's soccer team in Quebec. They play in the Canadian Premier League, and today was their first match. They played against Pacific FC, and it was a back-and-forth game. In the 34th minute, Supra's Loic Quemi opens the scoring to make it 1-0. Early in the second half, Pacific's Marco Bustos would tie the game at 1, but just a few minutes later, Sean Rea would score in the 58th minute to make it 2-1 Supra. But once again, Pacific FC would tie the game. In the 69th minute, Josh Hurd makes it a 2-2 match. And then in stoppage time, FC Supra's Alexandre Marcoux with the perfect touch. In the 7th minute of stoppage time, FC Supra comes away with a 3-2 victory, and what a start for the new franchise. It's been a difficult start to the season for CF Montreal, but today the squad was hoping they could put on a show in their home opener. They were up against the Philadelphia Union. Ivan Jaime would score first for CF Montreal to make it 1-0. But Philadelphia would get even in the 55th minute to make this a 1-1 match, and then 15 minutes later, Jesus Bueno would give the Union a 2-1 lead, and that's how this match would finish. The Union win 2-1. The Montreal Clown Festival is being held this week, and it's more than just red noses and circus music. Daniel J. Rowe reports.
The clowns are in town.
Like, clowns just keep on coming out of this car. There's workshops all the time from all corners of the city in French, in English.
Vanessa Rigaud is director of the Montreal Clown Festival, which is running amok all week.
We have a lot of circus festivals, we have a lot of theater festivals, we have a lot of festivals, period. Why make room for the clowns? You know, I think it's really worth it. I think when people come, whether you're an artist in the festival, an audience member, or even our photographers have told me that this is like the best time I've had. So you leave feeling good, which is really important, I think.
What do you do here? Jean Saucier started clowning when he was 12 years old. He joined Cirque du Soleil for its first show in the late 70s. He is now teaching what he loves.
We all have clown in ourselves. Everybody has a clown. The thing is to reveal it to the public. And I really focus also to connect with the audience because clown, there's no fourth wall like in theater. And we need the audience to know if we're touching or funny.
I think clown finds you.
Andrea Starnino is a student at Zany Clown School. She loved theater and was drawn to the art form.
All sorts of people, or even people that are just, they know they're naturally goofy, and they, you know, people say, oh, you're such a goofball, like, and they, yeah, it's just like all different ages, like anyone can really just come and try it, because it's just laughing and joy is a part of life too, just as much as all the other horrible stuff, you know?
And clowns are allowed to break the rules and question authority.
In clown, you are who you are, and if you're like crazy, but you can show it. If you're intense, you can be intense. If you, you know, all those colors can be revealed, and so in a way, it's liberating to be a clown.
The Montreal Clown Festival runs until next weekend. Daniel J. Rowe, CTV News.
Taking a final look at the forecast, it is 7 degrees in Montreal, 3 in Sherbrooke, and 6 in Quebec City. Similar temps tomorrow, mix of sun and clouds for your wake up, and a high of 9 degrees by mid-afternoon. Rain expected to start the week next week on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're expecting showers, but we'll have highs in the teens, then a mix of sun and clouds to finish out the week on Friday. That's it for us. Enjoy your Saturday night. We'll see you tomorrow.